Hey guys, I said I would upload a video about the mods I'm going to be putting in my game. So, this is the list. I'm going to go through each one for you here and kind of explain what each one does. So, let's go ahead and start with Frostfall, which is probably the second most important one that I want to put in. Um, Frostfall is going to change pretty much how how roaming around works. Basically, it adds a few elements to the game. Hypothermia, which means if you get too cold, you can start to die. So, I want to make sure, like, if I'm out in the game, my guy's wearing warm clothes, and that he's in a warm area and not in water too long. Because if you look right here, cold water survival. Water has different temperatures based on location. Obviously, river areas like Riverwood, Falkirk, and the Rift are warmer areas because they're not snowy, they're not high up, stuff like that. But if you're somewhere like the Reach and Whiterun, their water's chilly. But when you get somewhere like the Pale and probably a place like Solitude or somewhere north like Winterhold or stuff like that, that's when that's when it can kill you, the water. So that's going to add an awesome element to the game, and I just can't wait for it. Uh, Next is going to kind of add a couple of camping equipment type things. Sorry about that, guys. I had a not an interruption, but I had someone come in and talk to me. Um, let's. I'm sure that this is probably already gone over a little bit, but it's going to be adding some camping equipment to the game, meaning that it's going to make it, as they put it, to make surviving with the first 2 points much easier: cold water and hypothermia. A craftable tent, cooking pot, and campfire kits. Those are to help you stay warm. Like if I'm traveling up to Winterhold, it's gonna keep my guy from getting frozen. If like I decided, oh, I'm just gonna sit here for the night or something. I can throw down a tent, go to sleep with a campfire up nearby me, and it's all good. Um, and then they can also help you dry off. So after you're in water, your character's still gonna be wet. So you have to dry off. And then obviously cooking pots, and then you all know what a cooking pot does. If you've played Skyrim before. If you don't, it lets you cook food. Survival skills. It's going to be adding new abilities by reading what's called the Survivor's Guide, which I believe you have to find in Whiterun. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Uh, I'll have it all set up early on. So, weather sense, it displays like all the conditions of your character. So if your guy's wet, it's gonna be like, oh, you're wet, you gotta get warm or something. If you're in somewhere cold, it'll be like, oh, dude, it's cold out, you stay warm. Or if you gotta get hungry or something like that. And then where is the hardcore mode? It allows you to change the exposure protection value of any piece of worn equipment, which I'm definitely gonna be doing hardcore. I mean, what's the point if I'm not doing hardcore? Which means, I'll get down into a second. They're all usable by selecting the powers menu under magic and pressing the power shout key Z by default for the computer. This is kind of like the different levels of the thing right there. I won't be using light, which is the easiest. Classic, which is kind of like a medium. I'll be using hardcore, which means no fast travel. That's pretty much the big thing in this, but it also lets me adjust wear, which is definitely going to be helpful considering I'm using a decent amount of armor mods. So, that, and it looks like you have to light your campfire. You can't they don't just do it automatically. And frigid water can kill you. So that'll be fun. Let's see, hypothermia. It just kind of lists a little bit of how the things work. Heat sources, yeah, with hypothermia and stuff like that. Staying warm, that's stuff that will be easy. Uh, I know for a fact I'm not going to become a vampire. One, I'm not using Downguard yet. I might get it at some point, but I'm not using it now. Two, well, I'm not going to be playing a werewolf this time. I've done it before, but my character, I think, isn't really going to be a werewolf type person. So, looks like using a snowberry extract will allow you to survive in frigid water. Flame cloak spell. You will only be affected by water if you swim in it. Stepping or wading in it is fine. Use the temperature of the surrounding area to get a feel for how cold the water will be before you decide to test it. Harvesting wood. Let's see. The way that they used harvesting wood in the original Skyrim is they were like, oh, you can collect firewood and give it to people and get some money or something like that. It appears that in this, you're kind of going to need it to make certain things. So, it appears that a short cutscene will play, shown below, so about a 30-second cutscene, and 1 hour in-game will pass. And then the piles of firewood will disappear after 48 hours. So, looks like if you do 48 hours of... I'm not exactly sure, but that's what it appears. If you do 48 hours of stuff, you'll be there. You'll use up all the firewood. And then these are the items that you can create. Torch requires firewood, linen wrap. Ooh, linen wrap. That's nice. I like that they're trying to include linen wrap. I'm glad that they're making things require other things, you know. Alright, let's see. Small hide tent, 5 animal pelts of any type, 10 uses. Permits resting with the included bedroll outdoors. 12 animal pelts, 20 uses. Cooking pot, cast iron pot, 1 wooden ladle. 15 snowberries, 1 eye of sabercat, 1 slaughterfish egg. That's interesting. Advanced features. Worn equipment effects rate. This option is enabled automatically when using the hardcore mode, where it provides the option to allow certain types of armor to provide more or less exposure protection depending on what it is. Protection is broken into 3 categories: limited, standard, and full. Limited, fine for exploring the southern holds, but completely unsuitable for exploration in the north or high mountain elevations. Shirtless fur, hide, studded iron, banded iron. Standard, offers all-around generally good exposure protection, suitable for all but the coldest northern and mountain regions. Most pieces of gear fall into this category. Special note, fur without full sleeves is also in this category. Fur with full sleeves and all types of fur helms, boots, and gloves. Orcish armor, that's interesting. Use the inspection equipment ability to change protection by any worn equipment at will. Armor and equipment from other mods default to standard protection. I'll definitely be utilizing that inspect equipment stuff to change the modded armor. Manual fire kit lighting. You have to use flame spell, shout, or torch. Fast travel requirement. Since fast travel will be off for us. Yeah, okay, so that's just a kind of a repeat of stuff that we've already read. Compatible with Hearthfire, but we're not using Hearthfire, so that doesn't matter. And I believe at the bottom, no, that must be a different mod. Alright, and that is our first mod. Sorry, I had my ear was itchy. That's our first mod, Frostfall. Only took us 10 minutes to explain that one. Alright. Nightwatch armor. The good thing about this is a lot of these will be really simple to explain. Nightwatch armor is an armor mod. That's pretty much all there is to say about it. Here's a few screenshots that the uploader has. Looks like it comes with a shield, maybe a weapon, maybe just the armor. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what the armor looks like. So, that's pretty cool. That's something that I would probably consider a full protection, because the Night's Watch is from a show called Game of Thrones, and the Night's Watch is in a very, very cold place. So that kind of armor would definitely make sense as really warm. Tribunal robes. I don't know why I wanted these, but I thought they looked cool, so I decided to get them. It's literally just a bunch of robes. different colors. I think it comes in red, white, blue, and green or something like that. Or red, black, white, blue, and green. Yeah. So that'll be cool. Another armor mod, knightly armor. It appears, let's see, I don't know if it's one set of armor or multiple sets. I believe it's multiple sets. Yeah, it appears to be multiple sets of knight style armor. So once I get to it, I will, like once I find the armors or craft them, whatever I have to do, then I will assign values for heat level. Oops. Dread Hunter and Huntress armor. These are things that I would consider to be warm, but not, like, I would say they're standard. Except for the female one. The female one looks like it'd definitely be colder. Unless if you had that scarf. But I like this armor. I thought it looked pretty cool. Definitely like the chest piece and the pauldrons. Boots are okay. I'd probably replace them with something else though. Those are just some other mods that this person made. Alright. Okay, a Midianborn is a bunch of armor made by Cable, where he kind of changes the way the original armor looks. So this is a retexture for the Dwarven armor, I think it's called. Not Dwemer. I'm not exactly sure. So it's just a retexture of those, and I thought it looked pretty good, so I was like, yeah, that definitely looks better than the original. I might as well get it, you know? Let's see. Riverside Lodge. Alright, this is a house mod, or a player abode mod. Player abode mod. Obviously, it's a Riverside Lodge. It's... Alright, let's see. We'll read the description. A picturesque and fully equipped, lore-friendly player home near Whiterun. So this will probably be my first place that I get. And what I think I'm going to have to do is like assign a level to each house and be like, oh, I can't get this house until I reach that level. Or I may assign like, how do I say, like maybe specific requirements for each house. Like, oh, that house doesn't make sense for me to be able to use until I have 2,000 or 3,000 gold, you know? So, let's go ahead and read them. This lodge should be fitting setting for a prosperous adventurer, like the player, serving as a comfortable rest stop between adventures. I've tried to keep the layout easy enough and the amount of clutter and containers sensible, and tried to fit the house seamlessly into the world. It does look like it fits pretty well if you ask me. Not looking out of place. The main building includes the kitchen, living room, and on the top floor and a basement with the weapon, armor, equipment storage, and an adjacent underground crafting room. The room side wing includes the sleeping quarters, library, and enchanting/alchemy space. There's also a true Nordic sauna cabin, complete with a hot tub and a garden. Automatic item sorter scripts make sorting ingredients and other items in containers as easy as child's play. They can also be turned on and off individually if you do not want to use them. I'd probably turn them off because, how do I say, I'd probably turn them off because it's not lore friendly, I guess. That seems like the good word for it. It does not appear that, I checked most of these to see if you require down guard, and this one does not, which I'm very happy of because I don't have down guard. I'll probably get it later this month. Alright, Dragon Falls Manor. Again, I like home abodes and I like armor mods. And basically, it's another home abode. We'll take a look at a few of the screenshots. It looks nice. This is most definitely going to be one of the later leveled things. Not to mention, I really, unless if I decide to go into the Thieves Guild, depending upon what kind of character I make, then I probably won't be over here much of the game. Just because, personally, I mean, Riften's nice and all. Like, it's a nice area, like the scenery and stuff, but I personally like wintry areas, which is why I really like the Frostfall mod for this playthrough. Yeah, this looks nice. this mod. Oh, looks like there's a note right there. That's pretty cool. Let's see what's next. Warzones. Okay. This one I haven't read a whole lot about, but from what I understand, it just kind of adds a bunch of NPCs that are fighting each other throughout the world. So, that'll be cool. I was originally kind of debating on this, because one, I didn't really know what it was, and two, it seemed like it could be something that didn't go well with a different mod. The first main mod that I want in this. Second being Frostfall. So I didn't know if it was compatible at first, and then when we get to that later mod, I'll show you like why I chose it. Why I chose to add Warzones. Orlong's Hearth, I'm pretty sure, is another home abode. This looks like probably close to a mid-level one. Actually, that's pretty big right there. But it looks like a mid-level one to me because it's like... It's kind of like a place that you would conquer, it seems. I don't know if you have to kill stuff. But if you do, that'd be cool, because then I could like not get it until I could actually defeat whoever's there. But if it's a place that you don't have to catch, then I think it'd be pretty cool to have pretty early on. Not early on, but mid-game. A quality world map. Some of you might have heard of this before. It's literally, it just changes the way that, pretty much the way that the map looks. It kind of adds like, add roads and stuff, you know, like, so you can kind of see what sort of path you can take and how close you are to a road, which makes sense, because if you saw a map, you would see roads on it, you know? You'd see paths that people have taken. Build your own home. If you knew stuff about Skyrim mods, at least home abode mods, you would know this mod. I mean, look at that. 1 million views. 180 unique DLs. Close to 300 total DLs. And basically, it allows you to make your own home, but you have to gather the materials for it. Like, you have to get the firewood for it, stuff like that. So, I think that that's pretty cool. And it has a lot of options. So, hopefully it'll be a nice house to have. And then this is a house that I can get early on, you know? Because I have to build it up as the game goes on. So, that's pretty cool. Castle Grey, again, another house mod. But this one is like a huge place. Like, this is like my end game place, you know? And it just adds so much. It's too much for me to explain to you with how much is added. It's literally, it has everything that I could want in a mod, or in a player home mod. Expanded towns. Alright. I was reading through a couple of mods, and I saw this, and I was like, that is cool. I want that. You know? It basically... What's this? Oh, this is a scan to see if there was any stuff in it, you know. Basically, it's going to... Here, I'll read this. All the towns have some aesthetic changes, i.e. cluttered trees, floor, lanterns, because, you know, dark and night, etc. Listing all those things for all towns would be a pain in my arse. Read, am lazy, hi. Ergo, they will be omitted from the list of changes. And now, here's what you get. So it looks like it's definitely, he just adds stuff to each town. So like, Riverwood gets additional houses, an alchemy shop, NPCs, hunter and fisherman vendors, interior of the Sleeping Giant Inn, Riverwood Trader, added gather crops option, so just a bunch of stuff. And then like Dragon Bridge looks like they've got a lot. Dragon Bridge, I think that he pretty much just like kind of made into a whole town instead of like a little village if you've ever been there. So it looks like conflicts with those two, which I don't use, and does not conflict with any of these, which I do not have anything changed or do not have selected, so it doesn't matter. But that one's gonna be cool because it's gonna kind of add a new feel to each town, and I can kind of explore the town without it seeming like the exact same thing. Sky UI, Skyrim user interface, basically makes it so that way your interface looks nicer and is more friendly. It kind of takes it back somewhat to Oblivion, the way that Oblivion worked. Wow, that person's got a lot of gold. So that's going to definitely be more user-friendly, and that'll be good for me. Now, alternative start. I don't know about you guys, but I've played Skyrim through a lot of characters. Probably have about 8 or 9. All of them are like level 20 to 40. So I've played through a decent amount of the game, nowhere near everything. But I've gone through Helgen a lot. Because the characters that I have past Helgen are just the ones that are past Helgen. There are characters that I've made that I get a little bit past Helgen and I'm like, nah, I don't like this character, and I scrap them. So this is going to allow me to choose an alternative start. Basically, I believe I wake up in a room and I go and talk to this statue, and it allows me to create my character, and then I choose how my guy starts off. So that's pretty cool. Where are we at? Bandolier. Alright. I don't know if this is aesthetical or also functional, but basically it adds like different kinds of holders, like different packages, pouches, everything on your guy. So it's going to add definitely an aesthetical thing. Again, I don't know if it is what's it called? Functional, meaning that it adds bag space. But I think it'll look cool to have like that. That just looks cool. Like if I made some type of mage or like this guy an assassin, I could like put the little vials of poison on my guy and just like pop him open and like maybe dip an arrow in it or something and shoot the guy or stab him like this guy seems like he did. If I was a mage, I could have like different like health potions and magic potions and just have them there, and it would look cool, you know? So that's why I picked Bandolier. Winter is Coming is a cloaks mod. I remember this one because I liked it. If it would load. Let's give it a second. Alright, well, while we wait for that to load, we're going to open up the underground bathhouse. Oh, Winter's Coming loaded up. Basically, it adds cloaks to the game, which is definitely going to be awesome for basically the Frostfall mod. And it appears there are hoods, cloaks and hoods. So, I mean, that guy just looks boss, you know? So that's going to be fun. Underground bathhouse. I was debating whether or not to put this one in because it seemed almost lore breaking. Because, like, it seemed almost too modern in that it had, like, obviously saunas and hot tubs and stuff like that. But then I decided, you know what? It is something that could happen in Skyrim, but it's definitely going to be something that would be by someone who is either high level, like they're going to be a strong person. They're going to be someone who is of importance and basically someone who's rich. That's what I'm getting to. So that's going to be a wealth-based mod. Almost done here, guys. We're only at 26 minutes, or actually, I pause. I'm going to be cutting out about 2 minutes of this, so we're only at 24 minutes. Hunting in Skyrim. I like this mod because if you guys, not you guys, but if I decide to go with a character who's going to be based on hunting, then this is going to, like, not hunting, but like if I decide to go with an archer or something like that, then this is going to be the perfect mod, because this will allow me to take that archery and turn it into a way for me to make money. It changes kind of the prices of certain things and adds a few perks. So that's going to be nice. And new enemies. So that's always good. Let's see, compatibility conflicts. If you use Open City Skyrim, the hunting in Skyrim USP must be loaded before. Okay. Generally, any mod that changes Byron should be loaded after the mod. Each mod may be different though, so just test which works better for you. Should be compatible with Downguard, compatible with Lanterns of Skyrim. Should be compatible with most mods, actually. If you find an incompatibility, please let me know. I've altered food values so as not to conflict with needs/survival mods as best as I can. Should be compatible with ASIS, compatible with Real Wildlife Skyrim, and trophy hunting. That's pretty cool. So, that's going to make hunting like a plausible thing for me to use as a way of income. I don't know about you guys, but I think Ayla, I think it's pronounced actually, the woman in the companions, is a cool companion to have. So, Enhanced Skyrim followers decided to do a remake of Ayla the Huntress, and make it so that way she works better. So that's going to be awesome. So hopefully this is going to make it so that Ayla is more useful in a fight, but also more herself in the fight. And not just necessarily in the fight, but more her, like, she's going to have more of an individuality. Immersive Armors is basically adding a bunch of armors to the game. Really not much more to say. It kind of just adds all of these armors. And I looked over a bunch of them, and I liked them. So, I'll probably be using some of them. If not, all of them at some point. I probably won't use something like, I don't know, like Paladin armor, because that doesn't sound... it all depends on what character I play, obviously. So, that's going to be cool. What are we at? Interesting NPCs. I really don't know this one. Someone recommended it for me, and it basically redoes how... Well, it adds a bunch of characters to it, but it kind of helps fix, like, kind of stupid, not stupid, but kind of like, it just kind of changes the way that NPCs feel, you know? Like, sometimes they just seem like they're just not doing anything of importance or something, you know? And it kind of just makes them better. I was told that this was the best body mod, so this is, I'm just gonna go with CBBE, which you guys can all see right here what it is. So I'm sure all of you know about this. I'll probably use this one. I don't know. Leave in the description below. Which one should I use? Which one? Curvy, Slim, Vanilla, Never Nude, Official Face Pack, Body Slide, Part 1 or Part 2. Or, Body Slide looks like it's 2 different parts. So, I guess leave it in the comments which ones you think I should use. Or which one. I'm going to skip this one for a second and do this one really quick. The Bank of Skyrim basically means I can invest my money. That's about it. But depending upon what type of risk I choose, I won't necessarily make a whole lot of money, you know? Like this one I can lose money, slightly gain money, or skyrocket in money. This one I'm kind of always going to gain money, but it all depends on, like, it changes how much I get of each. So, that'll be cool. Now, I'm so glad that, I can't remember his name. It's like a bunch of numbers. But he commented on, I think it was this video. Yeah, this guy, 8075380A. Requiem, the old school role-playing overhaul, was the coolest mod that he suggested. I didn't check out the Skyrim Unleashed as much because I was like, Requiem? That sounds so awesome after I started to read about it. This one is honestly probably going to take the longest. So this video might push 40 minutes. I apologize if it does. Unless if you guys like longer videos, then awesome. Alright. Basically, it changes Skyrim. That's the easiest way to say it. It changes the leveling system, changes skills and perks, magic, how they work, combat and attributes, the atmosphere, like hand-placed things, like he adds hand-placed things, he changes user interface, I guess, bit of trading thing, thievery, races, animals, vampires and werewolf, miscellaneous settings, changes some items, adds new and old, edits old one, a little bit of bug fixes. I guess that's what's coming after this. Known problems, obviously, known compatible, incompatible, optional files. Alright, let's go with leveling. He said, almost every leveled aspect of the game world is now static. It's kind of hard to explain exactly what that means, but we'll use what he says. Enemies and allies are no longer leveled, except for followers at the moment. Meaning that enemies that you face don't have a level to them. They more so just have, this guy's difficult to beat, this guy's not. And then NPCs, I guess, are the same. Like, if you want to attack the Jarl, I'm sure he's going to be a higher level than the innkeeper, you know? And it appears that followers stick with your guy in level, which kind of makes sense, because it just does, you know? But it would also make sense to not have your follower level with you, just because if you have some amazing orcish warrior as opposed to a dainty little person, obviously the orcish warrior should do better in a battle, a hand-to-hand battle at least, than the dainty little person. Was that even, you guys couldn't even see that? I had my arm up really high, like, oh, this guy's super tall, and then I had it low, like, oh, this guy's really small. Items no longer generated based on the player's level. So, I know that when I first played Skyrim, every shopkeeper had the exact same crap. Until I got to a decent level, like 15 or 16. Then they started to have, like, orcish or ebony or something like that, you know? Like some decent items. Quest rewards are no longer dependent on your level. That's something I did not know, that originally they were. I thought quest reward was a quest reward. The amount of leveled locks have been reduced. I guess that means there's less master and expert locks. Not sure. Traps no longer deal damage based on level. They're always lethal. Basically, every enemy in the game can be fought from the beginning. So, a Dremora, I could fight one of those right outside of Helgen if it decided to spawn there. Obviously, the person who made this went in to make things like your Frost Acronaut isn't gonna spawn in, like, I don't know, Winterhold, like near there or something, you know? Sorry, I said frost. I meant to say fire atronach. So these are all the weak enemies, and then these are like the medium, and then these are like the if you're not good, you're going to die no matter what. This is kind of an explanation of what I've just said, but we're not going to read it. Skills. Most skill rates have been adjusted to lower values, meaning that it's going to take more skill leveling in order to level up. Most skill books no longer increase skill by one level, but only by a certain amount. All starting skills that aren't modified by your chosen race will start on 5, not 15. Available training units have been halved and rounded up to 3. So instead of being able to go to a trainer and be like, hey, can you train my blah 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 up 5 times, you can only do it 3 times per level. Armor will increase your respective skill rating very slowly when you wear it while running and sprinting. You start out with 3 free perk points to define your character on the first level. So like, you know how in the star system, you normally get 1 point per level? Well, now, you're going to start off with 3 points that you can spend. And he's redone the perk trees to change out how the descriptions are. Then give some example. Gameplay is totally different. Swords, maces, hammers, axes, two-handed weapons all have their attributes changed to be more realistic. And specializing in a perk tree is definitely going to help. Magic. He definitely changed the way magic works. Almost to the point where it would take too much time for me to explain it to you. But pretty much he made spells work much better. And then makes them more useful also. And then these are just some of the things that he changed with each spell. Enchantments. New and unique enchantments are available via certain enchantment perks. A new mechanism has been built in to get them in a more immersive way. So that it makes enchantments like different to come by. And he edited older enchantments. Shouts have been changed. And they definitely seem more like you're actually shouting your unfortunate foes apart. Shouts receive fully dynamic bonuses based on what you do, meaning every 5 levels decrease the player's shout cooldown by 2%, capping at 20%. So at like 10, 5, at level 50, you have full decrease for that way. A full 20% decrease. Every 6 words of power known, you get another 4% cooldown bonus, which means dungeon crawling and looking for shouts is definitely going to be a goal. Well, not definitely going to be a goal, but definitely going to be helpful. And every 100 times you've shouted, there's a slight bonus of 1% cooldown reduction, capping at 10%. So you can get a maximum 70% cooldown reduction on your shouts. So if it's normally 10 seconds long, it's now 3 seconds long. Think of going into a fight and just going, Fusroda! Waiting 3 seconds, Fusroda! You know, like, how awesome would that be? You're just like fighting a dragon, Fusroda! The dragon goes flying off, and then it flies back to you, and by the time it gets back to you, you're just like, Fusroda! Again, you know? That'd be awesome. Standing stones are really interesting. Basically, if once you pick mage, warrior, or thief, you can only pick stones that relate to that. So it's kind of like you're picking your character the moment you pick your first stone. But you don't have to pick your first stone. And it changed the way each standing stone works. Like, it changed their bonuses. Shrines are more useful now. That's pretty much the way to say it. Difficulty static, meaning it doesn't matter if I'm playing on expert or wimpy. You know, it's always going to be the exact same. And combat is totally different based on what type of armor you're wearing, what weapon you have, who you're fighting, where you are in comparison to them. It's ridiculous how much he changed. Alright, now, you know how when you level up you can pick Magicka, Stamina, and Health? Well, now they're even more important, because they're going to grant passive and dynamic bonuses. Meaning, every 40 points increases magic resistance by 1% if you put it in Magicka. 40 points also make Magicka regen go up. Health. Every 40 points increases damage in hand-to-hand combat by 1.5 points, damage with melee points by about 1.4%, increases carry weight by 4, instead of stamina being the only thing that does it, increases poison resistance by 1 and disease resistance by 1. And health does not regenerate at all by default, which is definitely going to make knowing alchemy way important. Now on to stamina. Every 40 points increases damage with bows by about 1.4%. So basically, if you're an archer, stamina, 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 stamina the whole time. Every 40 points also increases stamina regen by 8%. Increases your rate of movement by 2%, so that would be cool. Poison resistance and the disease resistance by 1%. So if you get the health and stamina one, you can put both of those up by 50%. And then adds a little bit of stuff about what gets changed. Like you can break locks now, based on your 2 times your health, 1 times your stamina. He added some hand place items into the game, and changed the font of the user interface to make it more RPG-ish. Merchants will rip you off if you aren't good in speechcraft and don't bring some illusion magic, so you can like use a spell to kind of trick them. Pickpocketing requires at least 1 rank in the first perk of pickpocketing, and lockpicking is actually hard now. So I guess that's why he reduced the number of leveled locks, but he added a lot of locks too. He reduced the level of them, but he added a lot. I'm saying he, I don't know if it's a he or a she that made this mod. Whoever they did, they were ridiculous. So, there's a lot of stuff that he did. And he changed the way every race works. So, it's basically going to mean, like, if I want a good warrior, I have to pick someone that's good for you. Like, I'm not going to pick a wood elf for warrior. It looks like he changed the way horses worked, and that they're a little bit better now. So that's pretty cool. He altered vampires and werewolves, but again, I won't be either one of them, so I should be good. Changed ore veins. Torches and other light sources are now warmer. Falling damage has been increased. Faendal and Sven are no longer available as followers. No fast traveling. Use a cart, teleport, buy a horse, or even better, walk. Time will now run slower, meaning that it takes 1 minute in real time is 10 minutes in game. Diseases are plagues. Player homes are now automatically locked when you leave for immersive reasons. Whole bunch of things. Added new items. I'm not going to read all these to you. There's no point. We'll run into them, and when we run into one, we'll be like, oh, that's a new item. Let's see. Bug fixes. Let's get down to this. These are compatibility. Known compatible mods, rather. And pretty much every mod I picked is on here. Like, a lot of what I picked was already on here, and then I went through here, and if things were cool, I added them to it. Like, I added that to my big list. So, now it looks like it's time for me to install these mods. Hopefully it won't be too difficult. And I'll be able to get it done soon. record myself playing for a little while, and upload the videos to YouTube. Now, I know the video is long, and I apologize for that. At least for those of you that don't like long videos. There are a few questions I have for you. What type of character do you want me to play? Like, race, gender? Probably gonna go with male, because if you notice, most of the mods, or most of the armor mods I had were male mods, or male armor mods. Uh, so race, gender, and then not necessarily class, but kind of like what style character. You know, like, do you want me to be, I don't know, a thief, an assassin, a merchant, a warrior, a mage, you know? Um, and then basically, I'm open to get a schedule down where I either record on weekends and Mondays, and then throughout the week I upload videos. And that brings me to my next question. How long do you want the videos? Half an hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know? Uh, Chances are I'll probably record myself playing for a little while, and then I can just break the video up into segments. So, appreciate any responses, and hopefully, hopefully you guys like the series. All right, that's all.